Tourism officials outline more plans to boost arrivals and the economy. Barbados Prime Minister attends the summit of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States in St. Vincent. The Bridgetown Port continues to work to improve efficiency and reduce costs. And in sports, Zane Maloney secures his first F2 victory.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowie. Major efforts are underway tonight to reposition Barbados as an all-round tourist destination. The strategies being put in place are expected to benefit all stakeholders and provide a big boost to the economy. Those initiatives have been outlined by Tourism Minister Ian Gooding-Edghill and his team during the estimates debate. Wendy Burke joins us now to tell us more. Good evening, Wendy.
Good evening to you, Pearson. Increasing airlift is one of the areas tourism officials are reporting major success with. The Tourism Minister says their efforts are designed to encourage economic growth and position the island to better handle external shocks. But the plan is also to attract more long-stay visitors.
The combined services from American and Delta will increase seasonal capacity into Barbados by 65,000 seats from the United States for this coming winter season. United Airlines will offer a year-round service from both Newark, New Jersey and Washington Dulles through 2024, with opportunities for additional capacity under review. American Airlines will maintain the 3 daily flights from Miami and a daily service from Charlotte through September 2024. However, the intention is to commence daily services from New York, which gives obviously additional boosts from the northeastern corridor.
Improving the sector's performance during the summer period is also a priority. The Tourism Minister has been speaking about plans which include hosting major sporting events and conferences.
We are creating partnerships with schools through the summer for football, netball, and cricket training camps here in Barbados, for choirs and other meeting and incentives group opportunities. We are establishing strategic partnerships with UK and Irish media. We are promoting the destination as an eco-friendly accommodation. Of course, we will leverage World Cup in June to encourage the British travelers to experience the series and, of course, the finals on the island. And we will continue to grow our golf tournaments on island.
The efforts to boost airlift and arrivals has also been bearing fruit based on the business being done at the Grantley Adams International Airport. Chief Executive Officer Hadley Bourne says at present the facility has a capacity to handle at maximum 1,600 passengers an hour, but this number is usually surpassed by an additional 1,000 passengers during peak times. And he says it isn't only passengers that need to be accommodated, but the number of aircraft.
At any given time, we could have as many as 19 wide bodies on the ground within that 4 or 5 hour period. And any delays in any operational activity could cause the aircraft to actually have to hold for a parking position. And one of the things the minister has been challenging us is now in terms of looking to redevelop and expand our ramp area for additional aircraft. We are one of the few airports in the region that can facilitate Code F aircraft. And when I say Code F, the larger aircraft, the Airbus 380. But even with that additional capacity that we would have had in our airport runway rehabilitation and expansion in 2021, 2022, we've already outgrown that expansion.
Air traffic control, meanwhile, manages just over 120 flights per day during the busy winter season. This is according to Chief Air Traffic Control Officer Glyne Blanchett.
We spoke about having the aircraft on the ground, but we need to more or less assist these aircraft through the Barbados airspace to get them on the ground. So on any given day, yeah, we have congestion, and how we handle this traffic is basically the procedures that we utilize. The way we do things, must change because we realize that going forward now, there's a growth in air traffic. So how we do things must change. We must look at reorganizing the Barbados airspace, and we must look at the other procedures. So as the Air Navigation Service Department, that is the first step. We have to now look at capacity.
Thorne believes Barbadians need to join with tourism stakeholders in contributing to the development of the sector. Mr. Thorne says the efforts of workers within the industry cannot go unnoticed, especially given the seasonal nature of their jobs.
The maids, the waiters, the taxi drivers, the vendors who are supported by this industry, we need to say to them, as Barbadians outside of the industry, that we support the industry. And we need to support the industry because there's the other recognition that it is seasonal.
Meanwhile, the Bridgetown Port is reporting it has taken a financial hit from the reduction in port charges between last year and this year. Chief Executive Officer David Jean-Marie put the figure at just over 11 million. He says this reduction in cost on container charges has been done to benefit consumers. He says a study was done by the largest shipping line and the Chamber of Commerce, and they saw a 1 to 3% impact on prices depending on the value of the item. However, he says the port costs are not the only factor.
A tin of corned beef average is about $6 per tin. And at 3%, the higher end, and this is a price which includes markups, that's 18 cents. A 10% reduction, therefore, is just 2 cents. So the port's impact by reducing the prices by that percentage is small. That's really what it is. But it is still an attempt to contain the cost of doing business and the cost of goods. We have no control over freight. We have no control over the other players in the industry, the importers, the other players who are charged. I have as a fact, I have information of an entity that moved its handling charge on a 40-foot container around the same time that we reduced our prices from $75 per 40-foot container to $200.
Mr. Jean-Marie has also revealed upgrades to the infrastructure and equipment at the Bridgetown Port are in the works. He says the construction of berth 6 will tremendously increase the port's capacity and reduce the time goods are held on the ground. That's it from the Estimates Debates. Pearson.
Wendy, thank you. In other news tonight, Prime Minister Mia Motley is among hundreds of diplomats attending the 8th Summit of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States today. She arrived in St. Vincent and the Grenadines yesterday evening and was greeted by the country's Deputy Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel. That meeting, which is also being attended by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, is expected to focus on food security, peace, climate change and health care. Now, speaking during a press conference at the Argyle International Airport, Mr. Guterres hailed Latin America and the Caribbean as a place of peace in a world where we see a proliferation of wars and conflicts of all kinds. He was speaking on a day where 100 people queuing to receive humanitarian aid in Gaza were killed.
Now, in this context, to see Latin America and the Caribbean as a continent of peace, and to see that when a problem arises, and recently we had one with two neighbors, Guyana and Venezuela, there is a mediator that emerges and is able to bring the parties together and to avoid a conflict.
Now, patients are being cautioned about the possibility of longer wait times at some government pharmacies over the next 4 weeks. The Ministry of Health and Wellness says this is as a result of the implementation of a new pharmacy management system. It's being rolled out at the facilities located at the Winston Scott Polyclinic and at the St. Joseph Outpatients Clinic. That program is also scheduled to be implemented at the St. Andrew Outpatients Clinic Pharmacy from Monday. The new system is expected to improve patient record management treatment and pharmaceutical health care and safety. We'll take a break here, but coming up, a local jewelry designer gets major international exposure. The The police are tonight asking for your assistance in helping to locate 52-year-old Anthony Esmond Boyce of Corday Avenue, Bayville, St. Michael. Boyce was last seen around 6 p.m. on Saturday the 17th of February. He's about 5 feet 10 inches tall, slim, and has a dark complexion. He has drooping shoulders, speaks with a heavy tongue, and is in the habit of drinking and smoking heavily. Boyce was last seen wearing a black and blue t-shirt with red stripes on the shoulder, a long black pants and black shoes. Now, anyone knowing the whereabouts of Anthony Esmond Boyce is asked to contact Police Emergency at 211, Crime Stoppers at 1-800-TIPS, or any police station. A major break for a local jewelry designer whose intricate creations are now on display on board a new cruise ship for its thousands of passengers every week. The pieces created by designer Aisha T are being sold on shops in P&O Cruises Arvia for the 2023-2024 Caribbean season. Sharika Griffith reports.
Aisha T started making jewelry roughly 3 decades ago, experimenting with locally sourced materials. But it would take her a number of years to realize it was something she was passionate about.
I started to fall in love with the idea of creating something, probably like 2 years in or so. So once I realized that it was something that I wanted to pursue, it quickly became my passion. So then I started to leave Barbados because we didn't have jewelry schools there. So I left and I traveled to different parts, of the world to learn how to, learn different techniques and learn how to create jewelry.
Fast forward to 2023, and thousands around the world tune in to watch P&O Cruises' newest ship, the Arvia, with a capacity for 5,200 passengers, be officially named in a ceremony in Barbados. The ship's godmother, Nicole Scherzinger, performed for the grand event. From that flowed 2 significant opportunities for the local designer. First, she was commissioned to design a unique gold cuff and necklace, which were presented to Ms. Scherzinger.
I thought that I had come a long way from creating, small pieces and not knowing where my journey would take me, but knowing that I had to continue making jewelry and to stay with it, to, people recognizing it and it having a distinctive type of energy. And so for me to get the call, because obviously she would have seen something that struck her that was interesting enough. So for me to get a call to come and, create something for Mr. Scherzinger, that was fantastic.
Months later came the big announcement that the selection of her silver cuffs, bracelets, rings, necklaces and earrings would be sold in shops during Arvia's 2023-2024 Caribbean season.
I think me being the first jeweler, or at least one of the first artists to, on island to have a relationship with P&O Cruises and have my work on Arvia, that's a stepping stone for at least my community to, see that we can do great things and, to call attention to artists, because that has been my dream for a long time. Artists sometimes get relegated to the back. So the idea of, somebody who's hand making and hand fabricating everything, to be among some of the other big brands and all of that, that was great. So I was very excited.
Aisha joins the ship each week during its stop in Barbados to host a talk about her designs. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Barbados will be the stage for scores of local, regional and international artists this month. This is a new initiative dubbed Barbados in March for the Arts, Bim Arts, as it gets underway. Festival Director of the Bridgetown International Arts Festival, Andrea King, explains the concept behind the event.
We felt that it was not merely enough to have only our events created in the festival. We thought to invite other producers of other performing arts events to have their events in March to make Barbados a hub for arts in March. So we know Barbados is called BIM, it's familiarly called BIM, and the acronym for Barbados in March is actually BIM. So that's where the idea for BIM Arts came about.
Bim Arts will include the events which fall under the Bridgetown International Arts Festival, the Caribbean Fine Arts Fair, which specializes in visual arts, and the All Stars Festival, which covers areas such as opera and comedy. Ms. King highlights some of what the Bridgetown International Arts Festival has to offer.
This year we have spoken word, we have dance, and we have comedy. The dance is happening on Sunday, March 17th, and it is going to feature 2 Afrobeat dancers directly from Ghana, in addition to Barbados' top dancers, all under the creative direction of Olivia Hall from Of Another Nature. Before that, however, we have spoken word. And then on March 30th, we have Caribbean Comedy Night, which features comedians from St. Vincent and the Trinidad and Tobago and the Barbados.
The National Library Service is on a mission to get more and more Barbadians back to reading physical books, enticing the public with free publications not on loan, as was the case at AgroFest at the weekend. Stacey Russell tells us more.
Because reading has, to a large extent, dropped off. It is not like years ago when people used to come to the library, used to come and borrow a lot of books. But now, because they have a lot of devices at home, the number, as I said, have dwindled, but we are trying to engage now our communities.
That is Director of the National Library Service, Jennifer Yard. She was elated with the response that came within hours to the free books.
We had about 10 big boxes of crates of books, and right now they're all gone. We get a lot of donations. And when there are multiple copies, all cannot be kept at the library, so we give away some of those. Like this bookstore just closed, and they give us thousands of books.
And why is joining the library to have access to physical books still important?
It's because they're reading the tablets and all the different devices, and I think that is going to have a severe impact on their vision. But a print never goes out of style, one. Print also, you can take it anywhere with you. It cannot go off if the current or battery is down. You have it all the time.
Stacey Russell, CBC News.
There's a suggestion dog insurance should be mandatory for people with certain breeds of dogs. It's coming from owner and head trainer of Loyalty Canine Services, Paul Rassimba Rock. He was speaking during a press conference called to address recent public outcry about dog attacks. Mr. Rock, who himself was attacked by a German Shepherd Akita a few weeks ago while out walking, says he's yet to be compensated. According to him, the attack cost him thousands of dollars in medical bills and lost income as he was unable to work. He believes this is one reason why insurance for what he calls the guardian breeds or dogs used for protection is necessary.
I believe that when I go to register such a dog, that I should have I should be mandated actually to take out insurance on my dog. I know that as a conversation that's been had, and I think that I don't know what was the result of that conversation, but I do think that in terms of compensation, dogs should be able to, you should be able to insure your dogs, not just in case they attack someone, but in case something happens to them. If somebody was to break in here and my dog was to get injured or loses its life in its defense of its home, which is his work, I should be able to get compensation for that. As trainers with our own personal dogs, we put in a lot of work with these dogs. This doesn't happen overnight.
Now, Rassimba, who is the owner of 6 big breed dogs, says poor dog ownership, not the dogs, are to blame for dog attacks. He believes all canines should receive some level of training.
Sports Night is brought to you by Powerade. Pause is power. And the Sunny. Live life the sunny after.
Time now to join Mark Seal for tonight's CBC Sports Night. Mark, good evening.
Very good evening, Pearson. And in athletics here at home, Hilda Skeen are leading both the girls and the boys standings of the Wabisco Frida Nichols Zone after today's field events program in the Chafette Frosties Knapsack Meet. Hilda Skeen lead the girls with 119 points from Wesley Hall on 74 and Luther Thorne with 47. While in the boys, they're out front on 103, Wesley Hall 44 and Grisette's 42. Then in the Ryan Brathwaite zone, Blackman and Gollop are leading both sections. Tied with Gordon Greenwich in the girls with 73 points, with Wilkie Cumberbatch third on 63, while in the boys, Blackman and Gollop are ahead on 104 to St. Catherine's 77 and Wilkie's 71. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke reports on one of the day's record-breaking events.
Bringing down the curtain on the field event competition for a knapsack was the Frida Nichols and Ryan Brathwaite zones. And we took in the action at the Alexandra School, which hosted the under-7 and under-9 events. The cricket ball, standing, broad jump and long jump events were completed. And one of the day's highlights came in the under-9 girls long jump in the Frida Nichols zone, where the record of 2.50 meters was broken twice. First erasing the mark was Raquela Holder, who registered a 2.63 meter leap on her first attempt. She's of Hildeskeen Primary. But that was short-lived, as here comes her teammate Aaliyah Brathwaite to set a new mark of 2.69 meters, sneaking the win and claiming the record. Hildeskeen also found themselves in winner's row when Jace Giddens took the boys on the 7 cricket ball with this throw of 2.16 meters. The field event competition is now completed, and we await the track events slated to start on March the 25th. Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
The Business Report is brought to you with the kind compliments of the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
In business, the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association says it has no objections to the setting of minimum rates or conditions for workers in the sector. This is one of the key tenets of the Labour Clauses Concessions Act, which could result in concessions being revoked if the business does not comply with the legislation. Speaking during a media conference, BHTA Chairman Renee Coppin said there is concern, however, about the impact this could have on the sector's competitiveness and sustainability.
We wish to make it very clear that our association has no objection to minimum rates or conditions. In fact, we are very supportive of the existing labour legislation as spelt out in the Act, and the requirement of all of our members to follow these pieces of legislation as they have done historically. We therefore need to emphasize that our concern is around ensuring the competitiveness and sustainability of our tourism sector, and to ensure that it is not jeopardized. Barbados is an island with a relatively high cost of living and doing business. We are also a small open economy which competes with the entire world in relation to our tourism product.
A bridge between academia and the aviation industry is being built in Barbados. It has started with the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the KFL campus of the University of the West Indies and Inter-Caribbean Airways. Trevor Thorpe reports.
5 Caribbean nationals stand to benefit from the initiative, which will get started next academic year. Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the UWI, Professor Clive Landis, says it fits in well with the strategy of the university.
Through these scholarships and the MOU we are signing today, you are opening doors for students to gain the skills and experience to function in the aviation industry at the highest level. Internships, research collaborations, and joint programs will bridge theory and practice, empowering graduates to soar beyond the classroom.
Chairman of Inter-Caribbean Airways, Lyndon Gardner, says the potential of the partnership for the people of the region is limitless, and it is a significant milestone for the journey with the UWI and the air carrier.
Aviation is a vital strategic industry for the sustainable development of our region. And for the industry to reach its full potential, collaboration between the private sector and academia is crucial. The benefits of this collaboration are manifold. UE students will gain practical industry exposure, academic inquiry will inform evidence-based policy and planning for the sector. Caribbean transport links and mobility will be strengthened. And ultimately, this partnership will spur the growth of quality jobs and economic opportunities across the region.
The stakeholders say it's the beginning of a journey filled with energy and innovation. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Back into the world of sports with Mark.
Okay, and on the eve of the island's premier horse racing event, the Sandy Lane Barbados Gold Cup, we close out our previews with the final 3 horses.
This is Mounted Glory. Looking to make it 2 on the trot is defending champion trainer Rommel Perkins Lovell, who has entered Body Tap into the Gold Cup for a 4th time, having won last year with Itza Gamble, who's sitting out defending his title after some setbacks. He's hoping that Body Tap, who's owned by Mark Goodrich, who brought up the rear last year, will have a better showing this time around.
Body Tap is as good as he possibly can be. This is 4th go around in the Gold Cup. He was 5th and then he was 2nd. 2020 last year he didn't run well in the race, but then he weakened close home. It was a real out and out, truly run race. This year, I expect him to come and do his best. Body's very easy to train. Obviously, he's got a bit older now, so just balance his exercise and try to keep you as happy and sound as possible. I think this year could possibly we have seen the best horses come for the Gold Cup, the quality horses that's nominated for this year. But home court goes a long way, and Bodie is an old boy in the race. He's one of the ones that have been campaigning here all year round. So. He'll put his best foot forward.
Up-and-coming jockey Enrico Prescott, who's now based in Canada, will be back home and in the saddle on Body Tap to take the trip from gate number 7. And we close out with 2 horses that have many pundits up in the air as to who to place their bets on. Out of 3-time Gold Cup champion owner Kenneth Ramsey's stables is Cash Equity and Spy Novel. Both are being trained by Gulfstream Park champion trainer Barbadian Safi Joseph Jr., who's on the island to ensure his charges are ready. They arrived in Barbados on Tuesday evening, and so acclimatization is key.
No, once they travel, I mean, you want them to ship well, make sure that they eat well and hydrate, drink water, and the temperature is good and all that checked out well. So once they show the good energy, that's the most important thing when you ship, is that to see what kind of energy level they're at, and so far so good.
Cash Equity will stand out on Saturday with his steel grey coat, and Joseph admits he is a quality horse.
On paper, he has a more stronger form. He comes there with a very good chance. He's trained well into the race. We had one prep into him in Gulfstream probably like a month ago. We feel like this has been the target since then. I mean, since we got him, it's been the target of Barbados Gold Cup. So we're happy with how he's shipped, and we're happy with so far how he's going into the race. Feel like we got it with a very good chance.
His stablemate Spy Novel recently came off a layoff and finished a good second in a 1 3/8 mile turf allowance race at Gulfstream. Joseph said he too is coming in with a good chance at glory.
Spy Novel he's a younger horse. He's a 3 turning 4 now, first year as a 4-year-old. He is on the improve. He had a prep going up 11 furlongs at Gulfstream, which was to set him up for the Gold Cup. A bit further than he wanted to go, but he ran well. He ran second, beat him by a horse that's a proven Grade 1 winner. So feel like he goes there with a good chance. So he's a more prominent runner, likes to be on the lead or close to the lead, and that's where he'll probably be on Gold Cup Day, all being well.
Tashawn Hazelwood, who recently went to the U.S. circuit, will be the jockey on board Spy Novel, while locally based jockey Rashid Hughes will be riding Cash Equity. They're drawn in gates 2 and 6 respectively, and Joseph said that there were good draws.
9 horses actually, so the draw is not really that important if it's a big field. Like that Spy Novel's inside, because as I said, he's going to be on the lead, all being well. Once he gets away from there, Cash Equity is drawn 6. He comes from a bit off the pace, so we're happy with the post.
So here's the full lineup for the 41st running of the Sandy Lane Barbados Gold Cup. The Coolmore winner Pat Soy Machine is in 1 on the rail, Spy Novel in 2, Renaissance Frolic 3, Soul Swall 4, Portfolio Company in 5, Cash Equity 6, Body Tap 7, and on the outside Jerry the Nipper in 9. Post time is 1 p.m. with the Gold Cup race scheduled to run at 5:50 p.m.
And that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. Have a wonderful weekend.